You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We think the dots, the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. Welcome back, Sarah Perkins, Blue Water Credit. How are you?
Good to see you.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we're celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Let's see. What do we have good to celebrate today? Having beaten anorexia, I think I'm just going to go with National Greasy Foods Day. Now, there's some foods that you got to go with. French fries, how can you beat them? My wife loves Mexican food, so we're going there all the time. I don't know, popcorn, Josh, is that really greasy? I guess if you put enough butter on there, it makes it a greasy food. Okay, so we got a lot of good, I don't know about the peppers, though. Those look too, the green and red in there looks way too healthy. But we'll stick with greasy food. We can deal with that. Let's see what the markets are doing. Do we want to see what the markets are doing today? Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 29.3. The S&P is down 41. The NASDAQ down 232 points. Oil's up 24 cents a barrel. And the 10-year Treasury, it's a scary number. It's up 8, almost 9 basis points, 4.91, moving all the way up. And did I mention what oil's doing? Do I want to even mention what oil's doing? Yeah, it's up 12 cents a barrel right now. I don't know. It just makes me ill. $5.41 a gallon of gasoline here in California. $4.68 is the price that Josh gets over there in Nevada. $4.68. Okay, let's keep on moving, see what else is going on in the world. Okay, so here's an interesting one. Just came across my desk. And Josh, this probably goes perfect for Greasy Food Day. Eating junk food is as addictive as smoking and drinking. I don't know. My bariatric doctor says drink a lot of water. I can eat a lot more junk food than drinking water. I don't think that's what they mean when they say drinking here, though. I think they're probably meaning, it's 9 o'clock in the morning as we record this. If you're listening to us on KMET AM 1490, 98.1, it's in the afternoon, so it might be martini time. But, in the morning, I think we'll just stick with a little bit of water. But I don't know about junk food being as addictive. Although that is a big issue right now. I don't know if you saw the news. So Meta, the parent company of Facebook, is being sued. And one of the items that they're saying is that Facebook and their social media channels are addictive for kids. Well, I can tell you this. I've got a 2.5-year-old grandson. Should I say that Sesame Street is addictive too? YouTube is addictive? Because he's always wanting to watch his iPad and watch those things. So does that mean those are addictive? Does that mean we should be filing a lawsuit there? I'm not a big fan of the lawsuits and all this other garbage. Unbelievable watching some of these things. Disney, or no, I'm sorry, it's raising all their prices. Apple raising all their prices on all their streaming services. Still going to be cheaper than the other services, so a lot of the market believes that it's not going to matter. But I don't know. Apple's stock is not doing so hot right now. They're down $1.02, and if I'm not mistaken, they announce earnings after the bell. Now it's down $1.77. Now, think about this. And again, if you're listening to us on ABC News and Talk, the report's already out. We haven't got it yet because we're recording at 9 o'clock in the morning. Going into earnings, Apple almost always runs up, and then when they announce their earnings, they settle back down. I wonder what's going to happen this time. And I will share with you that as of a little earlier in the day, about 100 points to the positive side on the Dow Jones Industrial Average was coming out of Microsoft. Now, if you're a math wizard and you say, okay, the Dow's up 4 and Microsoft is 100 of it, that means without Microsoft, the Dow would be down 96 points. Is that it? We'll see. Moving right along. Hey, have you seen this breaking news? I just saw this one come across my desk as well. So Senator Joni Ernst wants to close the Nancy Pelosi federal building in San Francisco. Have you seen that one? And I just kind of chuckled when I saw this come across my desk. Why does she want to have that building closed? Because the federal government says it's too dangerous for workers to go there and work. They need to work from home because they've got homeless and drug sales going on in the Nancy Pelosi federal building in San Francisco. I can't make this stuff up, folks. It's just the way it is. If you're thinking of that California has gone a little nutty, well, I would only disagree with one part of that. It's a lot nutty here in California. We've got a lot of really weird things going on, and it's just amazing to me. Okay, so maybe if I turn my mic down, Josh, will that help a little bit? He said I'm cutting out a little bit. Okay, we'll see. I am a little bit loud, as they say when it comes to the mics. Markets we're watching. They were basically on hold again today for interest rates, and I'll talk more about that in the Mortgage Minute. But why are we on hold? Well, we've got a very, very volatile GDP number coming out tomorrow. So some instances are saying our GDP might push 5 on the first reading of the third quarter. Now, just remember, the market's going to react to it. Will probably overreact to the number. And if history repeats itself, or the recent history, everything is going to be redone anyway. So it really won't matter because the revisions right now are massive on everything. And I've shared with you over and over again, when we got our employment report, 369,000 jobs created when there was really 800,000 jobs lost in the raw data. When we got our CPI report, we had massive changes there also. It said up 0.7. Raw data says down 5%. Do you think it's going to change with the GDP report? And then on Halloween Day of all things, which I guess maybe this really is fitting because Halloween is a scary time, the Federal Reserve starts their meeting. They will give us their report the following day. Hopefully they're not on a sugar high. We'll see what happens there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, it's all about credit. And I know you love talking or listening to us about credit because I get the comments. It's one of the most common or most attractive items on our broadcast is when we talk credit. Sarah Perkins is with us. She is the expert when it comes to credit. Invest in yourself by owning a home. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates. We don't know APRs, points paid, points received. We know actual locked rates because that's what they give us. It's across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming, 7.792, up a little bit. 30-year jumbos were down nicely, 7.913. 30-year FHA, 7.485. 30-year USDA, that's our rural neighborhoods, generally no down payment, 7.574, down a little bit. Best loan on the market, 30-year VA loan, 7.409. That was down just a little bit. If you want our market commentary every morning, every business day morning, we put that out in an email format to our subscribers. It's free, so All you need to do is tell us you want it. rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. Just tell us you want it, and you get it every morning when we put that out, again, as early as we can. Let's see what the markets are doing now. Oh, the Dow's turning down even further. The S&P 500 is down 45 points right now as we're chatting. And let's see what else is going on in the world as we speak here. The 10-year Treasury is up 10 basis points now, 4.91. Mortgage-backed securities are down 18 basis points. Remember, when the bond goes down, that means the rate or the yield goes up. It's a mathematic function. So we're down 18 basis points right now. Why? Well, we got the Mortgage Bankers Association released their mortgage application data for the week ending October 20th, showing that overall application volume decreased by 1%. Applications to purchase a home were down 2.2% for the week, down 22% year over year. Refinances by 1.8% from the previous week, or 8% lower than they were a year ago. It's not too surprising right now. And once again, as always, if you do like to listen to CNBC, I'm not sure why you would, and you listen to Diana Olick, never do that if you want anything accurate. Well, new home sales came out again. Measures signed contracts on new homes rose 12.3% last month. Diana, did you hear that? Rose 12.3% last month to a 759,000 unit annualized pace, much stronger than estimates, which were looking for 80,000 less. Sales are now up 34% year over year. There's a lot of demand for new homes as builders are selling air. People are buying them before they're even built. Over 60% of the homes sold were either not started or under construction. There were 435,000 new homes for sale at the end of September, which is practically unchanged from last month and down 1% from last year. At the current pace of sales, there is a 6.9 month supply, which is down from 7.7. However, only 75,000 of them are completed. And when looking at the pace of sales versus homes that are completed or the available supply, it's only a 1.2 month supply. Median home price was reported at $418,800, which is down 2.7% from last month, 2.3% year over year. But remember, this can be skewed due to the mix of sales. Has nothing to do with any particular property. If you're thinking about trying to buy a house, give us a call at 800-306-1990. We've got a program called The Perfect Offer, and we actually show you exactly how to get your offer accepted and how to qualify for more money than you think you might be able to. And we use a lot of the techniques that builders use. There's more, but we use a lot of those techniques. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make that call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So let's chat. We have Sarah Perkins with us. She is our resident, well, maybe not resident because she's up north and we're down here, but she's the guru, I should say, when it comes to credit. Been doing this a day or two, huh, Sarah?
Yeah, just for a little bit now, going on about 20 years.
Started at 9. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell what's going on in the credit. I see some things on social media and I don't quite believe them. So some of the things that are out there, I want you to be the one to dispel the myths, because if I say it, people say, oh, Ron, you don't know what you're talking about. But Sarah, you know what you're talking about. What's going on in some of these myths?
Oh, I know. I cringe. I think every time I open like TikTok or Instagram, everybody thinks they're a credit guru now, and it's spreading a lot of false information. I would say probably one of the ones I've heard most recently is if a creditor sells your debt, you no longer owe that debt, so they can't collect, and tell them to kick rocks, and it's just backfiring on people because that is so not the case.
Yeah, I was really surprised when I heard that one, Sarah, and I couldn't believe. Okay, why? What are they claiming, and then what is the truth? I mean, they're saying that the collection industry is non-existent or has no foundation anywhere. Is that kind of the thought process there?
I think the thought process behind it is now somebody else, a different corporation owes your debt, owns it. And so because you didn't sign the contract with that particular company, you don't owe them the money. But unfortunately, they did, if they legally purchase the debt, you can do that from the banks, and they just have to adhere by the same contract guidelines that the bank had with you, and they can legally come after you to collect on that debt, sue on that debt, anything like they were the original bank, like Bank of America.
Now, do the same rules apply on that, Sarah? So if Mrs. Smith or Mr. Smith gets a call from a collection company, we've talked in the past that one of the issues is that they have to be able to furnish you the details of the debt or what the debt's all about, or a copy of the contract. Does that still apply, being that they didn't have the initial contract?
Yes, so they still have to adhere by all the same rules. You do have the ability to request a verification of that debt, where they simply have to supply who the original creditor was, the original account number, some balance details. Most of the time when the debt is sold to these companies, they will get a copy of the contract. I don't think they have to legally furnish that unless they bring it in front of a court of law, but they do have to send you a verification of debt response if you request that. Even within 30 days, I think, of them purchasing the debt, they have to let you know that they are the new owners of that debt.
Really? So they have to tell you that they own it?
Yes. So they're obviously going to go off of whatever the last information is that your creditor had. So if you were not keeping that information up to date, they can only go off of what, like I said, Bank of America had last on file. So if you've moved, it's ultimately your responsibility to keep your contact information up to date. So they'll send it out to wherever it was. So they've done their due diligence. But then once you hear about the debt, if you find out, you run your credit report and you're seeing something on there, you still have the right to ask for them to verify that debt and send it to you in writing.
So I've seen sometimes recently where somebody goes and they get a loan from XYZ company, and XYZ is now sold to ABC. The whole company, and you don't even really know it. It's businesses are bought and sold all the time. And then now ABC is calling, and you have no clue what your debt, what they're even calling about. Are you able to ask them, hey, furnish me the details of what you want, or what this is all about?
Yes, you absolutely have that right. You might have to put it in writing, but they definitely do have to supply that information if you request it. It gets a little bit trickier when it's been beyond the 30 days since they first purchased the debt, but you still have the ability to ask and have them furnish that information for you.
Okay, so let's move on to another one here that I hear a lot, especially leading a lending team. An item's not on the credit report. Do I still owe it?
Yeah, so I've run into this quite a bit. Unfortunately, it's when people have probably worked with some other type of agency that tells them they get the debt removed from your credit report. They think they're home free and no longer owe the debt. So as long as there's a balance out there, you legally owe the debt. Just the type of ways that they can go and try to collect it can change based on the statute of limitations. So like in California, there's a 4-year limit that they have to sue you on that debt. And then they can still report it on your credit report up to 7 years. But even after that 7 years, I had a client call me yesterday saying someone called him about a First Premier account now owned by like ABC Collections. He's like, Sarah, it's been over 7 years since I paid this. It's not on my credit report. What do I do? I don't understand. I said, well, if you never paid the debt, you actually still owe it, but they can't really do much to try to make you pay it. So if it's not on your credit report and past that statute of limitations, it's really up to you if you feel obligated that you want to repay it.
So then it becomes just a moral issue. Do I want to pay my debt, or don't I want to pay my debt?
Correct. And if you can't pay it in full, I really urge you probably not to pay it, because even if you make a payment of, say, $1, and I see this happen all the time where they get tricked into making a small payment to start a payment plan, you restart that clock for the statute of limitations to get sued. They can't necessarily report it on your credit report, but you are opening up the window to maybe a lawsuit if you fail to, stick with that payment plan.
Wow, that's an interesting one. So you've restarted the clock on statute of limitations just by trying to do something right.
Correct.
Okay, so what I want to find out from you is there a better way of dealing with that if you want to do that pay the moral obligation? Is there a better way? I want to talk to you about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. More with Sarah Perkins, Blue Water Credit, when we come back. We will also chat about investing in yourself by owning a home. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Hey friends, do you dream of mortgage-free home ownership? Are you aware that even if you own your home free and clear, it could still be costing you thousands per year? The Siegel Lending Team can help you generate tax-free income, accumulate family wealth, and maintain ownership of your home. By simply emailing your most recent mortgage statement, you'll receive a no-obligation real estate plan. Learn more by calling 1-800-306-1990 or email me your recent mortgage statement to PEAR@RonSiegelRadio.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Let's take a look and see don't forget that that's a great service that we're offering to you, rsrmoney.com. Love it because you can find out, monitor your credit score, not your FICO score, your assets, bank statements, real estate values, and you can also search for any properties available for sale. Not about 97% of them across the country are right on there. Invest in yourself by owning a home. Are you wondering if it makes sense to buy a home right now? While today's mortgage rates might seem a bit intimidating, here are 2 compelling reasons why it still may be a good time to become a homeowner. Home values appreciate over time. There's been a lot of confusion around what's happened with home prices over the past 2 years. While they did dip ever so slightly in late 2022, this year they've been appreciating at a more normal pace, which is good news for the housing market. And while looking at price movement over just a year or two can make you worry prices are usually this unpredictable, history shows in the long run home values rise. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a chart. Price appreciation over the last 60 years. That's a nice looking chart if you own real estate. Using data from the Federal Reserve over the past 60 years, you can see the overall trend is home prices have climbed quite steadily. Sure, there was an exception around the housing crash of 2008 that caused prices to break the usual trend for a time, but overall, home values have been consistently on the rise. Increasing home values is one great reason why buying may make more sense than renting. As prices rise and as you pay down your mortgage, you build equity. Over time, that growing equity gives your net worth a boost. Rent keeps going up through the years. Another reason you may want to consider buying a home instead of renting is the never-ending rent hike. If you've ever felt the pinch of rent increasing year after year, you're not alone. That's because rents have climbed steadily over the past 6 decades. Take a look at that chart for the last 60 years. Oof. Just remember, rent goes up. Most cases, mortgages either stay the same or you can restructure and go down. By buying a home, you can lock in your monthly housing costs and bid farewell to those pesky rent hikes. That stability is a game changer. In the end, it all boils down to this. Your housing payments are an investment, and you've got a choice to make. Do you want to invest in yourself or your landlord? By becoming a homeowner, you're investing in your own future. When you rent, that's money you never get back. When you factor in home values consistently rising, plus the opportunity to get relief from never-ending rent hikes, home ownership can be a path to financial security. As Dr. Jessica Lotz, Deputy Chief Economist and VP of Research at the National Association of Realtors, states, quote, if a home buyer is financially stable, able to manage monthly mortgage costs, and can handle the associated household maintenance expenses, then it makes sense to purchase a home, unquote. Bottom line, when it comes down to it, buying a home offers more benefits than renting, even when mortgage rates are high. If you want to avoid increasing rents and take advantage of long-term home price appreciation, give me a call to go over options. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again, brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation, Sarah Perkins is with us. Blue Water Credit is the name of the company. Every once in a while, we do get comments that come across, and we like to throw them up on the screen. Wow, there's a big one. It blocks me out even. So how does Blue Water Credit comply with TSR guidelines? I don't even know what that is. That require that for-profit credit repair companies are forbidden from charging fees. Lexington Law, we all know, had a lot of problems. They got in trouble. And I can tell you this because of just talking to clients. Lexington Law's business model, in my opinion, was to grind out the consumer. Yeah, they're gonna try and deal with one or two items now because their business model was to charge you for a lifetime, right? They were going to get you on their $79, $89, $99 plan, whatever they charged. And there was a monthly subscription, so to speak. So they didn't have any incentive to get the job done. So how are you complying currently? This is the hottest topic in the credit repair industry. The CFPB and FTC are finding CFPB and the FTC have always been on credit repair, and I'm going to say for good cause. There's been a lot of credit companies out there that are not ethical companies. They're not out there doing the right thing. I'm going to have Sarah talk about this, but I'm going to share with you that I've never had anybody tell me that they were not ultra satisfied and really happy with the service they got at Blue Water Credit because they kind of identify what someone's looking for. I've heard the people at Blue Water Credit sometimes say, we don't need to deal with all of this. We only need to deal with the items that get us to our goals. But Sarah, can you talk about this a little?
Yeah, so what Tiffany brought up is, a very valid point, and actually something I speak with lenders and real estate agents a lot about. And she is right. In our industry, we are not allowed, if you are doing things the right way, to collect any type of fees for services not rendered. And so how Blue Water Credit stays on top of this is we have to perform the service and then we bill in arrears. So we are a flat monthly fee, but we do the month of work and then charge for that month of work after the month is completed. Unfortunately, there are a lot of companies out there that can't survive with that type of business model. And so they either go out of business or they're just operating illegally. I think 99% of the credit repair companies out there are just saying, you know what, we're just going to collect our fees. I hear people doing just a flat fee for a certain amount of service, like you pay $900 up front and we'll do all the work. Can't do that. So we always do a risk-free consultation and then we bill monthly for the work that we performed the month prior. And then we actually are the first credit repair company setting up escrow accounts for our out-of-state clients. So we're in California. So for anybody outside of California, their monthly funds will be put in an escrow account that we have no access to until the 6 months of their program has been completed. They're satisfied, and then we can actually collect those 6 months of fees. So we're all about staying on top of those kind of regulations because, like you said, they need to be out there because there's so many people that are, operating under not good faith.
Yeah, that's amazing how that's going on. And I know I've talked to the powers to be at Blue Water, and they're so on top of all of the different regulations that things that many people have never even heard of. And I don't know, you guys must be in with some trade groups or think tanks or something, because things that aren't even in the public knowledge, you guys are dealing with ahead of time. So it's kind of great to know that.
Yeah, Jeff, our owner, is actually on the board of a new, it's called Occam, and basically they're leading the way in compliance in our industry. So we are getting, all the information as far as how to stay compliant and making sure that we're doing that. Like we have to be registered with the DOJ. We have to have a $100,000 surety bond. California has some of the strictest rules and guidelines that we have to follow. So we make sure we follow those in any states that we operate in.
So that's a good thought right there. A good bit of knowledge. If you're looking at getting credit repair, if you need some help getting your credit report corrected, just ask the company, hey, do you send me, I want a copy of your bond. Believe it or not, the bond is probably one of the most important items ever. Not that you really use it, but they're kind of a watchdog also to make sure that the companies operate properly, because if you have to have the bond and the bond company says we're not going to bond you insure you anymore, you got some serious problems. But let's get back and talk more about some of the items that are on credit reports that we can deal with. Legitimate derogatory items, can those actually be removed?
Yeah, so I think it's a kind of a myth out there that the creditors had to have some kind of error and you made your payment on time, and if you just happen to slip up and miss it, that's something that can't be removed. And it's furthest from the truth. So with a credit report, the information reported, if it is inaccurate, incomplete, or erroneous, it has to be investigated, and if it can't be proven, it has to be removed. So errors happen all the time on reports, whether it be with the dates, with the amounts, and that is what our experts at Blue Water Credit are good at, is going through a credit report with a fine-tooth comb and looking for those kind of errors or inaccuracies, and then bringing upon the disputes with the creditors and the credit bureau. So looking for those violations and getting it removed because of it not being reported correctly.
And I would suggest or question the thought, Sarah, if the consumer, if you go through this and go through the process, and if a creditor says, something, I don't want to deal with it, it's something that's old, it's a nuisance, I'm not going to confirm or deny, I'm just not going to respond to the bureau, then what happens with that trade line?
Well, then it needs to be removed, and that's how we're able to get those type of items removed, when you have an expert that goes in and knows how to dispute those type of items, the right way, and so that they're permanently removed from your credit report. And yeah, you're right. When items are a certain of age, or maybe you don't owe a balance anymore, they might be a little bit less likely to respond to those disputes, making it a little bit easier to get those older derogatories removed.
Okay, so we got a lot of stuff still to cover. Josh, I probably won't make it to our Your Credit Matters because we got our credit guru here with us. But I want to get to a couple other things. I do want to get back to my question for Sarah about the statute of limitation that we started talking about in the B block. So we're going to go back to that as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at ronismylender.com. That's ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report and it is wrong. What are you doing about it? Hey, don't forget, a lot of tools that we have for you. If you've got a lot of debts out there and you just want to try and get rid of them, right now there's a lot of folks that have a lot of equity. And we did a program recently, and you can go to rsr2step.com, rsr2step.com. You can basically take your, say a 3.25% interest rate mortgage, double that interest rate is what I think we showed in the example, double the interest rate, get rid of your debts, don't rack them up again, and create a lot of household wealth. So there's a lot of opportunity right there. rsr2step.com. If you don't have equity in your real estate, which means you bought the property very recently, and you've got a bunch of debts that you want to deal with, Don't forget, we did a broadcast just recently. Josh and Chris were in, and it's rsrdebtset.com. rsrdebtset.com. You can actually see a replay of that broadcast. So we've got all of those things for you. That is Your Credit Matters, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. And you don't even need to go to creditsanitizer.com, although you should, because when you go there, it's going to get you in touch with our friends at Blue Water Credit. And Sarah Perkins is with us today from Blue Water Credit. We're just getting some education on credit, on your credit report. And I'm going to throw it out there right from the beginning, because there's a lot of people out there that I hear all the time. Well, I can just go and get my credit report and send a letter saying everything's not mine. What a bunch of hogwash. And that's not what our friends at Blue Water Credit do. But I want to go back to something we did talk about in the early segment and see if maybe I'm on a track here that, well, many times people say that I'm hallucinating, Sarah, but I'm going to see if this is accurate. So we were talking earlier about the statute of limitations, and I think you shared that California has a 4-year statute of limitations for filing a lawsuit on a debt, but that doesn't absolve you of the debt. Now, if somebody goes and they want to settle that, and I'm just going to throw out numbers, and I'm going to say, okay, you've got a $1,000 debt and you want to settle it for $250. Is there any way to protect yourself, number one, from restarting that statute of limitations, or to get that removed from your credit report?
So yeah, debt settlement is actually a super common thing, especially after a debt has been sold and that's older. So debt buyers will go out there and purchase these debts for pennies on the dollar. So if you feel a moral obligation to have to repay these debts, I would definitely say offer a settlement to these creditors. And as part of the settlement, try to negotiate that they delete from your credit report if it's still something that's reporting within that 7 years. Sometimes the creditors actually issue a 1099-C form, and they'll just forgive the debt for a variety of reasons. So if you receive that 1099-C form from the creditor without paying anything, that would absolve you from having to repay the debt. But you don't see that happen very often, but I would definitely recommend settling and making sure you get that offer in writing. But again, if you make any kind of payment plan, like that settlement set up in multiple payments, and you default on that payment plan, you are restarting that statute of limitations for legal action. So be really careful when agreeing to anything in payments if you don't know if you might be able to fulfill it. So I would say do a one and done, like lump sum settlement. You'll probably get a better percentage off anyways doing it in a one-time payment. Plus it just saves you from restarting that clock if you get the right documentation saying that balance that will be no longer owed after the settlement is completed.
So let's unpack a little bit of what you said there, Sarah. So you were saying that a collection company is buying the debt. So what that would mean to me, and you correct me, is say I've got, again, we go back to that $1,000 debt, and you said they're going to buy it, or they can buy it pennies on the dollar. So hypothetically, if they were to pay 20%, and is that a fair number? Do they usually pay more or less than that?
It probably just depends on they come over in portfolio, so it could be, judged on how old it is, if these people have assets, the type of debt it is. So, I would say probably around 20 to 30 cents on the dollar is probably going to be about average. Okay,
so let's just, because I want to do easy math because I'm a simple guy. Let's say they bought that $1,000 debt for $250. If I call and settle it, or if I hire Blue Water Credit to do the settlement work for me, and they go in there and they get it settled at $400, that's let's do $500. They doubled their money. That's a good return on your investment.
Exactly. So yeah, they're taking a risk because these people have already defaulted on the accounts. When a debt buyer purchases the debt, typically it's already been 180 days past due. So they know the chances of recovering it, go way down after the creditor has written the debt off. So that's why they get it at such a discount. But they are hoping that it's going to pay off, that somebody's going to feel morally obligated, or they may initiate a lawsuit, and then that person's going to go out and try to find the money after that lawsuit's been initiated. So they'll try a variety of collection methods in order to try to entice people to pay, and use the settlement as a ploy as well too to get people to pay.
Do you think? I know you've done that. You've got a lot of experience in this arena. Are they going to do? Am I going to get as good a transaction or settlement as if I hired somebody to do it for me?
Well, the benefit that you get from hiring like a company like Blue Waters, myself, I've been around for 20 years doing this. So I built, a really good contact list with like all the major banks, credit buyers, and some of them have dedicated debt settlement departments that deal with our company because they know that we're bringing them a volume of clients that are going to pay. And so because we're bringing them that volume instead of just being an individual, they are giving us, better discounts. And then we're more likely to pay. They know that the clients in our program are motivated to get these things done as opposed to just calling a consumer or having the consumer call in. They don't know the behavior of this consumer. They don't know if they're going to fulfill, whatever settlement offer is given to them. So there's a higher chance that the settlement will be completed with us, and we do the higher volume. So in a lot of cases, we can secure a better deal and even sometimes get those deletions without any kind of hardship application or going through all the motions that maybe a consumer would have to do on their own.
So you've got the experience in there. There's relationships. I'm assuming that the collection companies are going to feel, hey, these guys aren't going to be doing this if there's not a likelihood of success. So there's that level of due diligence in there as well.
Correct.
So here's one that always happens, and I get this on a regular basis. I try to dispel this myth as a consumer advocate because we offer a service called RSR Money. You can go to rsrmoney.com and you can monitor your credit scores. But those are not going to be the same as what our friends at Geneva Financial will get when they pull a credit report. Can you explain why those are different?
Yeah, so in the credit world, there's two major brands of credit scores out there. So you have your FICO, which is probably still used in about 90% of lending decisions. And then you have your Vantage score. So Vantage was put together by the three bureaus to somewhat compete with the FICO score. So a lot of the online scores you get like through Credit Karma and Credit Sesame are looking at what's called a Vantage score. And although they look at similar components like your payment history, length of credit, your credit utilization, they put different weights on how important those different categories are, which can skew a score, 100 points one way or another. So most of the time I see the Vantage score probably be a little bit higher than a FICO score, but it can go the other way. And then within FICO itself, there's various versions. So there's a version that the lenders will use in the mortgage world, like the 5, 4, and 2 model, where that's probably not going to be the FICO score that's readily available in those monitoring services. Most likely they're giving you a very general FICO score like the version 8, which has some different nuances on things that they don't count that, the mortgage score may count. So like paid collections, the general score doesn't even look at paid collections, where the mortgage one, you still get dinged for a paid collections.
So that's some good information. I was once told, and I don't know if it's still this case, Sarah, tell me if I'm right or wrong, that the easy way of understanding this is that, I think right now, Josh, I think we're on iOS 17 on Apples or something like that. But there's still, the operating system 14 or 12. And that's kind of the same way that the FICO has. They keep doing these latest and greatest, but that doesn't mean everybody's using the latest and greatest system.
Correct. And they just actually approved 2 new scoring models that the lending world was supposed to start adopting here soon, but they kind of pumped the brakes on that. But the biggest change that we're seeing is going more towards trending data. So where they're going to put more weight on the behavior of the consumer in the last 24 months, as opposed to just a snapshot of what today looks like. So if you pay down your credit cards and the next day your utilization looks great, that's not going to maybe help you as much as in the future if you are primarily a person that keeps their cards maxed out. So that's another reason why working with an expert like Blue Water Credit, we stay up to date on what all the trends are, what the credit bureaus are looking at, what the mortgage people are looking at first for, and so that we can customize a plan that's specific to that person.
Great information, and I highly recommend talking to our friends over at Blue Water Credit. They do a great job. They're not out there just to try and get a sale. They're looking at obviously they have to feed their family. I mean, there's no question about that, right? But the bottom line is that they're looking to see, what do you need? Does it make sense for you? Does it make sense for your family? Is it something that they can help with? And then you can decide whether there's a business relationship to be had or not. So I highly recommend talking to our friends over at Blue Water Credit. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.